Where last we left off, we'd managed to gather some resources from some Geord nodes, crafted a scythe, and then started slaying some beasts. With the beast slayed, we took our spirits and started the Malam mod. And with our start into magic, we were able to devise ourselves some armor with some extra protection. And then we discovered the power of energy matter covalence, or EMC for short. And that's exactly where we leave off now. I set up the basic version of a power flower, and behind me is, well, a fully completed one. Well, at least a tier 1. Now, how exactly is this constructed? Well, first of all, let's sort of break the entire thing down into its base components. Once you have all of the glowstone and slowly start building this up, it's going to look something like this. So we have ourselves some glowstone. In this case, I have an MK2 that was given via quest rewards. We have a matter relay that then needs to go after that. And then finally, on top of this, we have ourselves an energy condenser. And as so long as we know where the position of this is, we can actually start to build the flower around it. Now, I do need to leave out an empty space, which is going to be allowing me to access the front of the energy condenser, but believe it or not, you can place these blocks directly on top and still open the chest. With all of our antimatter relays, we can start laying in the energy condenser, and this is going to be very important for today. These essentially need to cover every face of the antimatter relays, including the sides and also the front spaces. Then once all of that is done, you want to cover every single face of the energy collectors with glowstone. This is going to maximize the amount of EMC that this is going to passively generate. And even though it's not the prettiest looking thing in the world, this is a very, very productive machine. And that's because of its ability to replicate things. And this is what we set up last episode. And you can see it does generate glowstone quite effectively, which is going to allow us to technically make more than one of these today. And what I would really love is to have one of each on each cardinal direction. And so the production of that has begun, and I have started to lay out more power flowers, which is going to match this one. However, I do have to kind of wait for them to generate. They still take a long time, but it will be nice having access to at least 4 of these. Now to remember, we have a boss that we ultimately need to get to, and we need to be able to take out hell to be able to move out of this nasty realm. And thus, here we are again, finding our way through our quests, with our next major quest lines being getting access to the Philosopher's Stone. As one of a few beings that know the crafting method for the Philosopher's Stone, I can take full advantage of this legendary tool lost to time. Its true power lies in the ability to transmute objects from one state of matter to another. Thanks to Spirit Infusion, this also extends to spiritual transmutation, transforming the inhabitants of Helheim into those of other realms. And so our next task is getting this crafted up, which shouldn't be too difficult. We need rotten flesh, a little bit of the soul-stained steel, and then we also need some redstone and a little bit of hex ash. And then we just need to line this with some spirits and an ender pearl. And this is going to lead us into crafting the Philosopher's Stone. This thing is quite a powerful tool, allowing us to convert things in the world and even convert mobs in the world, which is going to be pretty helpful moving forward, I believe. There we go. Oh, this is so good. Along with the Philosopher's Stone, we get a Klein Star, which is going to be needed in order to change mobs. And we get another skill point. As far as skills go, I've pushed all the way down to the bottom, and now I am pushing all the way to the top to get us a +1 on base armor. Now, something to note about this Klein Star, and you may be wondering, how do you charge it after you've used it? Well, another feature of this power flower here is the ability for us to charge our Klein Stars. So if we put a Klein Star in here, and let's say we don't have anything being produced, well, this actually starts charging it. But for right now, I think we're going to be fine. Now, the keybind in order to change mobs is actually R. So let's say I don't like this guy. Well, I can just change it by hitting R and swap it into another mob. And some of these mobs are going to grant us different spirits. Very specific different spirits. And there should be a vast variety of mobs here. Look at that. Okay. Enderman, we already know. Oh, a shulker? Okay. We should definitely try to take out a shulker and see what this does. Interesting. I think it's the same as what an... it's the same as what an Enderman gives. A moth? Okay, another shulker. Enderman. Let's just keep trying until we run out of everything. Ooh, a slime. Oh, that gives us a lot of materials here. Oh man. Let's continue on. A phantom. Okay. Another interesting mob. And also, this mob drops another special material from Malum. Let's see what else we can get. Another massive slime. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, and a ghast. Yes. We are definitely going to need to take out a ghast because ghasts are going to drop infernal spirits. Another mob you can also get is a stray, apparently. Huh. Now, for getting a couple of these spirits, we do get a choice reward, and I would highly recommend this scared spirits, as those are ones that you typically get from passive mobs, and considering that we don't have any passive mobs nearby, this is definitely one to take advantage of. Now, you know, we are taking on quite a lot of mobs, and I think now would be a good time to possibly equip a little bit of special gear. Maybe even a backpack. I could potentially also make a magnet if we have the ability to. What do you think, Viet? Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. For the backpack, I am going to need string. To be able to get string, yes, we can use junk with a little bit of the aerial spirit. So I'll drop this in, let that craft up. There we go. And then don't forget, if things have EMC, yes, we can make more of it. So making more string is 100% possible here. I'm thinking 2 of these backpacks will be a good starting point. Now about that magnet. Ah, yes. Okay, beautiful. We do have access to a magnet right from the very start, which is going to be so good. And I should have made this earlier. What a helpful tool this magnet is going to be, especially for farming more things off of those geodes. Now this can occupy a charm slot and has a keybind. With a keybind set, I can hit it to toggle the magnet on and off, which is very helpful in certain scenarios. Now let's take a look at our spirit pouch. This is another helpful item that we should be able to get our hands on, but it does say that we are going to need a smeltery. I should fashion together a pouch made of spirit fabric. This will automatically harvest any spirit crystals I collect into its inventory instead of my own. Liquid souls can be extracted from items and most entities in Helheim, even from myself inside the smeltery, which I need to assemble. So yes, before I can make the spirit pouch and make soul glass, I am going to need a smeltery of some sort, which leads me into mystical essence. With access to spirit from other realms, I can now begin actually making tools from those realms. Clay shall prove to be another malleable and versatile material. These materials look like they're made inside of our spirit altar, and they are going to require just some basic amethyst dust and a spirit of its related element. To make clay, I need earth essence, water essence, and ultimately to get dirt essence. Once I have some dirt essence, I have everything I think to be able to put this together. But I do want to take some dirt essence and use it to now gather our first bit of dirt. Then I can combine 2 of our dirt essence to get us clay. With this mystical essence quest done, we can move into Freyr's Market, which will give us access to several goods. Finding the spirits of the god Freyr within an ender pearl will summon him to trade farmable resources with me if I can provide enough unrefined spirits. Though I can hoe and plant crops without water, crops planted on unhydrated farmland grow very slowly, and I'll have to depend on bone meal until I can obtain better soil. When this is definitely worth crafting. With a trapdoor on the pedestal, a couple of logs, and some dirt essence combined with an earthen spirit and an ender pearl, let's summon. And there's our market. So we place the market down, and yes, there's Freyr. Believe it or not, it does say it in there. The way to get unrefined spirits, by the way, is to take our spirits and essentially smelt them. And just like that, we have unrefined spirits. And man, I was needing food. In here is a ton of different food options. We have rice, eggplants, so many different things inside of this list. Carrots, potatoes, all kinds of saplings. Oh, perfect. I think as of right now, some must buys are going to be onion seeds, beetroot seeds, carrot seeds, and I definitely want tomato seeds. And that's because these 4 seeds produce a vegetable medley, which we can use in Farmer's Delight to actually craft one of the better foods. I do have to be quick in planting this stuff down. As you can see, the farmland will just kind of go, but we should be able to grow it. Yes, and then we can just harvest it all. And also, if you hold down Ultimine, this also lets you click them all. This is going to be the perfect meal. I just have to cook up some of the clay that we just got, then use that brick to make myself a cooking pot, and then follow that up with a campfire, and we have the recipe for delicious meals. So we can take this, and then we just need to combine all of the ingredients, which I did find a use for this backpack, as we can create a much more condensed storage. But yes, all I have to do is take the tomatoes, the carrots, and the onions and the beet, combine that all in the pot, and this should start making ratatouille. Just craft up a few bowls, make sure that gets placed in here, and we have ratatouille served up. And this stuff is delicious. Oh, and nourishing, apparently. And just in case you didn't know what nourishment does, well, it prevents you from losing saturation for the duration of the time, which is incredibly powerful for fighting things and or using Ultimine. With food figured out, I think it's time to build the forge. And what forge? Well, the Tinker's Forge. The weapons and gear I have made and will continue to prove useful for a while. But if I wish to truly become a master craftsman like the dwarves, well, I'll have to dirty my hands and become a tinkerer. I don't have the dwarves' mass forges or automatic methods of resource extraction, so I'll have to turn sand into gravel. And what it means by turning sand into gravel is the way that the Philosopher's Stone can technically take sandstone in world, and if you shift right click, it can convert it into gravel. And all we need is one piece in order for us to technically make more. Finding these things together, I can get myself some grout. And smelting one of these down, well, this will definitely get me some seared brick. I love that this still says I am grout. That's great. And much like all of our other resources, so long as it has an EMC value, we can make more of it. Harnessing the power of the gods. To be able to build a forge, we are going to need a seared tank to get started, a seared basin, a seared faucet, and a seared melter. We'll place down our seared fuel tank and then also the seared melter on top with the basin directly in front and a faucet to allow us to pour out of the seared melter. Reason this is needed? Well, to be able to actually make the smeltery controller for a regular size smeltery. To power this, we are going to need lava. Using the Philosopher's Stone, I can also convert obsidian into lava, which has a wide range of uses and should allow me to begin casting my own metallic tools once I have built the appropriate foundry. In the last episode, we went out on a hunt to get some obsidian, so obsidian is no longer a problem for us, and we can also create more of it indefinitely. But we do need to convert this into lava, but before we do, we should probably make ourselves a bucket, another bucket technically, because I did have to make a bucket for the cooking pot. So now that we have this, I can convert it into lava. And there we go. And this is ready to be powered. So I've placed the lava inside, and all I have to do now is place in my ingots, and this should get to smelting. Yes, with the ingots melted, we can place in some seared brick and just simply cast it down into here. And then we are going to have ourselves a controller. Yes. But with this, everything changes. We no longer need the setup behind us anymore. Now we must build a new forge. And to do this, we're going to place a bunch of seared brick around. And then on the outside, I'm just going to surround the edge with seared brick. Then we assemble our classic smeltery, where we have our smeltery controller. We also need our fluid, which is going to be inside of the seared tank. And then we also need a drain, a way that we can get the fluids out. And the drain is going to cast into two different things, a casting basin and a casting table. And there we go. That is a basic Tinker's Construct Smeltery. With the basic outline done, I can also start to expand, and as you build up on this multi-block, the larger you make it, well, the bigger the actual internals get. Now remember, for that spirit pouch, well, we're going to need soul glass to be able to get this. Well, we have to drain ourselves. So there's nothing like taking a nice dip into our jacuzzi. Very hot jacuzzi. But all we need is at least 1 block worth. And then I can cast that into our seared basin. And we now have ourselves some liquid souls. Just like that. Slowly going to cool down. This guy's staring at me funny. There we go. Now to make some spirit fabric, and we're going to be placing white wool in here with a few different spirits. Aha. There we go with our fabric. This bag is going to prove quite useful because all of our spirits that are currently going into our inventory, well, they're now going to automatically be funneled into this bag, kind of acting as a pseudo backpack. This bag is going to be so useful, especially now that we have access to a gate pearl. These magical gateways open a one-way path to the other realms, allowing their creatures to cross through into Helheim. This will prove valuable as a means of consistently harvesting spirits and many more resources. And to make this a few more spirits, some quartz for binding purposes, of course, and our ender pearl in the center. And there we go, a gateway pearl. Now, since we're going into combat, I think a shield is now going to prove quite valuable. I've just got to find a nice place to do this battle. And I think this is going to work out just fine. We can start right here, entering into wave 1, which is just some regular zombies from the other realms. Next wave, okay. Got some drowned, which is also from another realm. Beautiful. Wave 3, some husks. Perfect. And then wave 4. Oh boy, these are my least favorite. Strays are not a friend of mine. Oh boy. And these things, which are quite rough, honestly. This is not part of it, I don't think. This is just from here. Oof. All right, beautiful. And then the final wave. Oh boy. Okay, by the way, to be able to handle these, I have experiences with these. If you hold the shield, it will bump its head on the shield, forcing it to fall down, in which making it quite easy to take care of. Yes, so good. So good. And that should be it. Possibly? Unless this is considered one of the enemies, which it was. And we get a massive dump of all of these resources. Oh, which is so good, by the way. And we should have gathered quite a few in here also. So many good things. After completing that, moving over into the forged section, we now have ourselves a smeltery, which is going to give us a cast starter kit and some copper cans. And from that battle, we got ourselves coal, and this would be a great thing to start making more of. Now, even though I have myself a forge, I'm not going to be using too much of it just yet. And that's because we need to keep pushing, primarily to get into our next section. And this means the magical calyx. Human knowledge can prove useful to my needs once more through alchemy. Some humans consider this the foundation of all things, but we see it as nothing more than another tool in our arsenal. The alchemical impetus will allow me to transmute and craft many more useful resources, tools, and eventually weapons. And so we must make the alchemical calyx. Thus the crafting begins. And even more crafting. Yes. With this, we can now start to make chthonic gold. Gold has long been among the most sought after materials for its purity, beauty, worth, and alchemical and magical powers, even among gods. Alas, such a valuable material would never be found here in Helheim, but through alchemy, I can create an alternative, not as versatile, but still just as useful for my current needs. And to make this chthonic gold, we need to burn up our alchemical impetus that we just made in order to produce this. For now, I think I'm just going to make enough to use up 3 of our impetus and save this one for future use. So let's make some chthonic gold. Beautiful. With our chthonic gold made, it's now time to branch off for a couple of side quests. The first one being the imbuement chamber. As my magical skills return, I can make better use of my knowledge, including partially utilizing one of the most powerful forms of magic, Source. Though I won't yet have full control or access to Source, I should be able to create tools that can crudely channel it. And so we can break down some of our chthonic gold into fragments and make our first imbuement chamber. Ah, this is perfect. We can then take our imbuement chamber and then we can give it an amethyst shard and let it slowly gather source that is around and turn this into a source gem. Then once we have ourselves a source gem, we can make more source gems. By simply placing this in here, you can see we can just generate them. And we really don't need all that much at the start. Now with these things, we can get into some magical storage. Elfhelm, the land of the elves, is rumored to contain many types of magical things. Among these is the bookworm. If I can somehow acquire these small creatures and then bind them to a special lectern, they should be able to retrieve items from nearby storages. Now, gathering everything needed in order to make the bookworm charm isn't too bad at all. We just need a book, and we're going to need some of the runic sap balls, which we get from runic sap, and we're going to combine this with scared spirits. And this is one reason why I chose scared spirits, well, in the quest. Paper for our books, by the way, will come from our paper scrap, and then once we get our book, we can make more of them. And now we've crafted the bookworm charm, and now I've crafted the Dominion wand. Now I've encountered my first mini roadblock, which is the fact that I am going to need some sort of regular wood in order to craft the bookshelf, in which I can just simply grow a regular oak tree. Even though, are these leaves blue? That's cool. But with that, I have now crafted the final thing, which is the storage lectern. And this is huge. This grants me access to a centralized storage system that also can pull items from inventories and send it back into the lectern. And the range of the connected inventories is quite large, and they also grant us even more bookworm charm. But for each bookworm charm that we have, we get 8 inventories that can be connected to it. So to start, if I simply add the 1 bookworm and then I use my Dominion wand, I can shift right click on the side of the chest and then just right click on here to bind that inventory. And so now this is linked, and we can actually see that if I right click on here, we can see specifically what chest is bound. And when you're using chest, you only want to bind one side. And another cool thing to note is I'm almost positive it is priority based. So I clicked this one first and I added this one, and it will go and place items in the order that they were added. Now I can click this synchronize search button, and inside of the inventory, I can see all of the things in the chests. And boy, did this magic storage just open up so much, because now I can simply craft a few more storage upgrades, apply these to the chest to turn them into sophisticated chests, and then use some iron upgrades to take it from this size to this size. And you can see the little bookworm walking back and forth, or flying back and forth, I should say, picking up items, well, visually at least. Now our little bookworm here, I do want to make it much more fitting. So dyeing it red gives it a nice orange little helper tint. As you can see, they are much closer to color now. But with our storage done, there is still a few more things that we should probably work on. And that leads us back into the quest book yet again, this time for the Spirit Crucible. The Spirit Crucible is an old alchemical method of transmuting objects with spirits. This will give me access to more materials from other realms. And other materials from other realms sounds absolutely amazing at this point. To craft this, well, we are going to need another type of material. I believe as of right now, we've made twisted rock, but now we need to craft up some tainted rock. And out of everything, this super easy recipe here is what's required for that. And I still love the way that this animation looks. It is so good. Finding ingredients for things is so much nicer now. So I can just search, for example, hex ash, which is what I need for this recipe. And there we go. And then also I need a furnace. So there's the furnace. With everything placed in, I think this is going to be a rather big milestone. Allowing us to access materials from other realms, that sounds good to me. And Spirit Crucible, there we go. And with this, we get another choice in spirits. And I think this time I'm going to go for the infernal spirits. So let's take our Crucible and just simply place it down. I then need to take my alchemical impetus and use this. This is why I kept one around, because this is what's going to allow us to create a bunch of different resources just by simply using some spirits. And some of the first materials that we can definitely make with this is going to be prismarine shards. So I'll place in the impetus and then hit it with the arcane. These two materials. Oh, that is such a cool effect and sound. And I think it's going to inscribe the items off of it. Oh, that is so cool. There's our prismarine shards that we just got. And it just used a little bit of durability off of here. Another resource we can make is going to be gunpowder. This is still so satisfying to watch. It's like a laser beam shooting into it. It is so cool. And there we go. We've got gunpowder now. Oh, that is nice. Now, ultimately, we are going to need blazing quartz. Using alchemy in the Spirit Crucible, I can create a blazing quartz, a source of heat and light with mysterious alchemical and magical properties. And from the looks of it, a pseudo replacement for blaze powder. This requiring 2 infernal spirits and 2 arcane spirits in order to make. But I wonder, can we stack these up? Possibly. Oh, I love that the colors like blend and everything. It's so good. Yes, it does just keep crafting. Now with the blazing quartz done, we've effectively done all of the prerequisite quests leading up to what appears to be a blood altar, which also seems to be prepping me for combat. Well, all quests except for one, which I did save for last. And that is the unlimited food quest. By simply taking some of the glass that, well, is underneath me and scooping up the liquid underneath, I can make a cobblestone generator. A very weird cobblestone generator, but a cobblestone generator nonetheless. So with some flowing soda over here and lava over here, I should be able to make a very special block. That is Alex's Caves rock candy. Yes. And this right here technically is an unlimited food source. With just one bite, you'll enter into a world of imagination. And maybe that one bite might actually grant you some extra hearts. And so I saved the best part for last. And I think overall today was quite productive. We crafted ourselves up a delectable food medley, joined Team Dwarves, created the ultimate power flower setups, and even created a storage solution. But I'm starting to feel like someone's watching me, and I'm getting a really uneasy feeling about it. Almost as if they're worried. Yeah, I'm sure it's just the wind though. But if you did enjoy today's episode and you learned something new and you've been enjoying this pack thus far, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already and give this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. And well, if you don't do it for me, well, at least do it for my little helper friend here. They would really appreciate it. And guys, without further ado, it's time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Sin Fix. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting in one of the best ways possible. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode. And as always, thanks for watching.